losing it. Because if you didn't free the mind, the body, you can adjust to anything. We just did 22 events, 3 counties in 4 days. You can do anything you want to do. I had a conversation yesterday, believe it or not, with 20 or 30 5- and 6-year-old kids. I'm serious. I had Constitution. I thought I was going to go into a room and talk to some adults. And it was kindergartners. And we had a conversation about the U.S. Constitution and what it means to be free in America. They get it. They understand. We had questions and answers. They asked questions about America and is this the best country on the planet? They asked me that. I got witnesses. Did they not do that? You see what I'm saying? We have the unlimited potential to be anything we want in this country. That's why this country is the greatest country God ever created. We did something in this country never been done before. In 243 years, we became the shining light on the hill. We came from something, we went from nothing to somebody overnight in biblical time, because you got countries that have been around for 3,000 and 4,000 years and have not done what we did in this country. And the reason we was able to do it was because of a little simple thing called capitalism, which allows you to determine your own fate. No matter where you start, if you work hard and you got a dream. Let me say that again for those who didn't get it. It don't matter where you start. All it takes is a dream. And you can go anywhere you want to go. Think about it as a concept. In 1960, they say we're going to the moon. Ain't ever been there before, don't have a clue as to how we get there. But once they put that thought out there, and they went to a bunch of engineers and say, okay guys, we got to get to the moon. How are we going to do it? They say, we don't know. Yeah. 10 years later, we're walking on the moon. That's how it works. Seriously. If you don't plant the seed, you're not going to reap the harvest. You got to plant some seeds. You got to do some toil. You got to do some work. You got to do some labor. Freedom and liberty is the same kind of process. All right, we're spectators in this sport. We watch this country, and I hate to say this, we're copying off the dumb kids. I'm being straightforward, unpolitically correct. We're looking at the European cultures. We look at France. We look at Spain. We look at Greece. We look at failing European countries. We look at Russia. We're looking at China. We're looking at countries that's had political and economic systems that's failed time after time after time after time. And people keep saying, we need to be like those guys. That's like sitting in the classroom and you're an A student and you know this guy's a D or F student and you copying off his paper. Guess what? You both fail. He's not smarter than you and you know it. So why are we in the situation where we're in today, in which we have this great country? It's got all the tools. We have the Holy Bible. That's a part of this great country, which is where the original seeds came from and was planted to help make this great country. And then they sat down and said, okay, so we are not like those other countries. Let's do this whole thing different. We don't want to be a monarchy. We don't want to be a country like the failing countries in the other parts. And they did this in the 1700s. Think about it. They had failing countries in Europe in the 1700s. And they said, now, let's not be like those guys. I'm not going to say change, and I'm not going to say hope. They say, let's do something something different. Let's make sure we never have that happen to us. And they sit down and they wrote the Constitution. And that is why we are where we are today. Now, all of a sudden, it's not good enough anymore. We want to go back to looking at what they're doing in Europe and trying to say, okay, this is how we make the country better. No, we know better. But all too long, we've all been looking for someone else to be that person that makes the difference. I mean, when I was a kid, we watched Superman. And Superman put on his leotards and his tight, shorts and put his cape on. And when all the rest of society had failed, I mean, the cops and the army and the police, I mean, we got these super bad guys who are really destroying everything. And the chief picks up the phone and he calls, Superman, and Superman shows up. And all of a sudden, before the day is over with, freedom, justice, and the American way is restored. Well, there is no Superman. Every day, every morning, when you wake up and look at the mirror, before you walk out the door, you just saw Clark Kent. Superman is Clark Kent. See, a lot of folks don't, we talk about freedom of mind, conceptual ideas. The elephant with the chain on his leg has the power, has the strength. You're the elephant. You're Superman. The hero you have been waiting on to save your country is you. Yeah. If you never do anything other than watch it on TV, then you're watching it like it's a spectator sport. In 18 months, when this is not your country and you can't identify it, you have no one to blame but yourself. And the first morning that you wake up and you put your cape on and walk out that door and say, I'm going to do something, I'm going to make it different, and I did it like in 2006 when I first decided that I was going to run, everybody say, it is impossible. You can't do it. Never been done before. It hadn't even been a candidate in 6 years for that slot. Nobody's going to give you no money. You ain't got a chance. I'm going to tell you something. That elephant with the chain on his leg, free to mind. I didn't need anybody else to tell me that it was impossible, because I woke up one morning and I had a dream. Not the same dream Martin Luther King had. But I had a dream, and I knew something was different. And from that day forward, my heart has been different. And if you listen to people, they will tell you what you want to hear. And I call those people politicians, because I have been to meetings and heard the same person talk to 5 different groups, and his principles was what he wanted, what he thought they wanted to hear, as opposed to having his own principles, having his own value. You tell them who you are, you tell them what you are, and they either like you or dislike you. That's the American way. And you talk to people's hearts. And in this country, no matter how long you live, if a person knows you and they talk to your heart, you will no longer be enslaved on the plantation, because your mind is free, because you know who you are. And that's the first part of being free in America, is knowing who you are and knowing the job that you have to do to make this country the country based upon the Holy Bible and the U.S. Constitution. Thank you so very much for your time.